All right, Freaky Friday, Sports Bet, Betting Insight today. Pauly and Teddy, SBR picks. All the betting news you need to know in less than 20 minutes. I'm at Real Sports Bet on Twitter. He's at Teddy_Covers. 7 preseason games tomorrow, and 6 of them, at least here in Vegas, on television. A triple header on NFL Network. We'll get to all those games rapid fire coming up, and 2 totals that we like in the games tomorrow. And a horrible job by the NFL with a scheduling spot in the Raider game. We'll explain coming up. Here we go. Bad beats, bad bets, bad for the books. Preseason games go flying over again in 2 of the 3 games. Well, we'll get to that in a second. Bad beats, first baseball, the Braves -105. Shoe was on the other foot. Rockies' bullpen has blown a ton of leads lately in the last month, and they trailed 3-2 in the ninth. They get a 3 spot and beat the Braves 5-3. And the Angels, +125 down to 105, led 6-4 in the bottom of the 8th. The Rangers rally for 4 and win 8-6.
Sure. I mean, the Rangers-Angels, as 2 teams aren't going anywhere. I'm not going to worry about that too much. But we've talked a lot about Colorado's bullpen. It's not like Atlanta's bullpen has been lights out on a night-in, night-out, game-in, game-out basis. And that was certainly the case last night. The Braves bullpen has shown their fair share of weakness. If Atlanta doesn't make the postseason, they can look at games like last night and say, that's why we didn't do it. Meanwhile, Braves in a pick'em price range, they get nothing. Colorado gets the money. Bad beat for anyone who had Atlanta.
All right, NFL now, bad for the books. Patriots took money. Belichick likes to play these guys usually in the second preseason game, 3.5 up to 5. That is 8 straight overs in the preseason for the Patriots. Belichick all-time, 59-36 to the over. Good for you if you knew the information. And Brady plays the first half and throws 26 times.
Yeah, I mean, look, the money was all over it, certainly when it came to New England. All the late money came in on the Patriots, 3.5 up to 5. Easy. I mean, it wasn't much of a sweat for New England backers. Same story with the over in that contest. And as you mentioned, when you're 59-36 to the over, you've cashed 8 overs in a row in August, that's something probably blindly worth betting until proven otherwise. The markets don't appear to have caught up with the new helmet rule, tackle rule in the NFL, where I can't figure out what's going on with that. The catch rule hasn't been fixed. And there's going to be a lot of referee decisions affecting NFL outcomes this year that is going to make bettors pull their hair out. But bottom line for last night, books got beaten down by the Patriots and the over. New England continues to cash. New England continues to cash total wagers for over bets on a week-in, week-out basis.
We gave you the great information earlier in the week on this game. Play of the day winner, Packers 2.5 up to 6. 14-0, 3 minutes in. No Landry Jones, no Roethlisberger. Pittsburgh sat most of their vets. It was Rudolph and Dobbs going for Pittsburgh. They actually moved the ball and scored, but 2 pick sixes by Green Bay. Rodgers takes them right down the field, hits Graham for a touchdown, and the Kaiser-Hunley backup battle for the quarterback spot there behind Rodgers. 51-34 Green Bay.
Yeah, I can't think of a higher preseason game. I mean, I didn't go back and look yet, but there's not a whole lot of preseason games that get one team in the 50s and the other team in the 30s. The Steelers scored 34 and were never in the game. That's Pittsburgh scored 31 in the opener. The Steelers offense is all of a sudden showing signs in August. We haven't seen that before, and yet never in the ball game. Obviously, favorite and over. The books took a beating on the favorite in this one. Nothing with Green Bay money. The wise guys got it right. The public got it right. And bookmakers around town and offshore, they're not happy with that result. Not even a little bit.
All right, how about the ESPN game? This would have been a disaster if the Jets would have won by 1. Jets +3.5 went off a 2-point favorite. Huge move, and Bridgewater played well in the second half, but they had 3rd and goal from inside the 1. They were stuffed, had to kick the field goal to go up 1, and then Hogan takes the Redskins down the field, and they win by 2. So the only people that won that were early to the party and grabbed the 3.5 and the 3 early.
Yeah, and of course, it does land in the middle between the opener and the closer. Normally we think there's going to be a disaster for the books. Not in this case, because the early money was fairly dramatic. All the books moved the numbers, and anyone that bet this game after about Monday, if you were betting on the team that took all the money, the Jets, you did not cash those tickets. You say that the Jets had to go for the field goal there. No, they didn't. They can go for it on fourth down. It's the preseason. You're allowed to do that kind of stuff. Todd Bowles made the decision not to do it. And Kevin Hogan, who was pretty bad again last night, got the drive that the sportsbooks needed, taking the Redskins down the field for the game-winning field goal. Washington wins by 2. They were +2 at the close. That bad bet for anyone that would bet in the Jets late.
Yep. 4th and goal from the 1, they probably go for it, but the play lost 3 yards, so he set that in the field goal unit. Game 1 of a doubleheader, Mets-Phillies over, a rocking chair game. 9 bet up to 10, 24-4. Mets, the first team since 1894 to allow 24 runs and score 24 runs in the same season. Game 2, Phillies 160 up to $2. They win 9-6, Phillies 40-20 at home.
Yeah, and game 2 was about as easy a bet as you'll ever find. The Phillies lose the opener 24-4. That's crazy. You know, the over money cashes in, obviously. But a prideful team off a beatdown like that against an opponent that isn't going to score 24 very often, no surprise the Phillies took an enormous amount of money in game 2 of that doubleheader. No surprise that they came through with the victory.
All right, and they were betting against Leicester here because the advanced metrics are not good, but he took money yesterday, even money up to 125. No runs allowed at over 6 innings. Cubs win 1-0 against the Pirates, who are now 500. Remember when they had an 11-game winning streak. Twins 155 up to 170, and the total from 9 to 9.5, 15-8 Minnesota. And thank you, Clay Buchholz. Complete game, gave up 1 run. Weird game. Diamondbacks get 5 in the first. Before there was only 1 out. They don't score the rest of the game. They win 5-1. Diamondbacks 128 at close 150.
Yeah, and certainly, we talk about Leicester and the Cubs taking that money, the Twins taking the money, the D-backs taking the money. When it comes to August and particularly into September, betting MLB, you're going to see some significant moves based on lineups. You're going to be significant moves based on the sharp money that is following baseball closely. The rest of the market, we start to look at football. Everyone starts to look at football, and the MLB markets kind of tail off a little bit. Therefore, the books tend to react a little bit quicker and a little bit more aggressively in terms of their line moves at this time of the year. We're going to see a fair few 20, 30, and even higher cent line moves over the course of the next 6 weeks in MLB action before the postseason begins.
Right, the Padres are now 2-20 at home, the first game of a series on the season. Horrible. They've lost 4 in a row at home to the Diamondbacks. You'll be at the Golden Nugget a week from tomorrow. They got the seminar. It's a crazy week with that. You got the SuperContest Weekend at the Westgate as well for the big contest, $1,500 to get in. Tony Miller's doing a contest at the Nugget, and a meet and greet on Friday. Tell people about it.
Yeah, I don't have any promo copy yet, so I'm just going to tell you what I know. There's a meet and greet on Friday night at the Golden Nugget right here in Las Vegas with the IFBC. Last year was in Costa Rica. Really was a lot of fun and was for people that attended last year. They're all coming back. There was a ton of good information. This year, obviously, it's here in Vegas. Find out all the details at sportsbookreview.com. Friday night, by the way, there is nothing going at the Westgate. Normally the Westgate has a seminar on Friday night. IFBC is taking over. Westgate's giving up on the seminar. So it's all us. Got to be at the Nugget to get the info next weekend. Again, Saturday and Sunday is the conference. Friday night, the meet and greet at the Golden Nugget downtown here in Las Vegas.
All the betting news you need to know in less than 20 minutes. We have to go through 7 games in 10 minutes here. Let's start with Jacksonville and Minnesota. 10 in the morning, Pacific time, NFL Network. Vikings 4.5 and 40 against Jacksonville. Zimmer's been terrific, 14-3 straight up, 12-5 ATS in the preseason. And the Vikings coming off the 42-28 win against Denver.
Yeah, sure. And we talk about these two teams that finished number 1 and number 2 in the NFL in total defense last year, I should say. They were in joint practice all week. Mike Zimmer's quote, "I would consider it again. I think it depends on the team," and things like that. Both teams were very respectful of one another. There was really no fighting, nothing like that, no trash talking. It went really smooth. Have not gotten accurate QB information yet for this game. The Jaguars, Bortles, Kessler, and Lee in their quarterback rotation. The Vikings have Cousins, Simeon, Slaughter, and Pujols.
All right. No opinion on that one. Opinion on this. Look at this movement. Shame on the league here. This is ridiculous. Rams taking on the Raiders, 1 o'clock Pacific. The total opened 42.5. It's 38.5 now. And the Rams opened 3. It's down to 1. Why is it a bad job by the league? They play week 1 Monday night in Oakland to start the season. Now, Gruden's like, I can't believe this. Well, it happened 2 years ago with the same team. The Raiders played the Titans in the third preseason game, and then they met week 3 of the regular season.
Yeah, week 1 is a rarity. You don't see teams meeting in August and then meet one, but the league always finds a way to screw the Raiders. They find a way. This is one of them. Gruden, like I said, I've never seen that. I was in the league a long time. I don't remember that. What are you going to do about it, right? Well, just adjust and adapt. Same for them as it is for us. Gruden also saying you're going to see a lot of players playing for a long period of time that are going to get a chance to show us they belong here. That's how we're looking at this game. Read between the lines. What does that mean? Not going to see a whole lot of starters. Not necessarily going to see a whole lot of backups for Oakland. This is a chance for the third stringers, the guys that are trying to get a roster spot to get there. But, McVay, doesn't sound like he's particularly interested in showing a lot here. I expect vanilla game plans for both teams, and that's why we've seen all the money come in on the under for this matchup. Two teams don't want to show anything because they're playing each other in a game that means something 3 weeks from now.
NFL Network, 4 o'clock Pacific. Bengals take on the Cowboys. Dallas at home, 3 and 41.5 the total. I lean over in this one. And Cincinnati moved the ball and scored against Chicago in their first.
Scott for Dallas in this one, but a fair bit. Is that 3 series? Is that the first half? At this stage, we don't know.
Texans and the 49ers. Texans at home, 2.5, 41 the total. Mullins played well for the 49ers in the come-from-behind win against the Cowboys, which was a high-scoring game. Shanahan now 4-1 ATS since taking over with the 49ers, 4-1 straight up, rather, since taking over with the 49ers. The Texans got rid of Morris, the quarterback. You can cross him off the list. They cut him earlier in the week. Any thoughts on this one?
Well, I mean, for the Tech, again, let's go through the QBs on the roster for the 49ers. Garoppolo, Beathard, Mullins, and Hennigan. For the Texans, Deshaun Watson, Brandon Weeden, Joe Webb, the top 3. And look, regular season, this is a fun game. We got Deshaun Watson against Garoppolo and two teams that are poised to have breakout campaigns. Preseason, we're not likely to see that much in that regard. The questions about Shanahan talking about Garoppolo. You want everyone to be perfect, so my answer will never be yes. Is Garoppolo where Shanahan wants him to be? He's been working his tail off, going through the process. We've been through the play install completely. Now we're starting to isolate a little bit on coverages we're going against, but I've been real happy with him. That being said, it's still a growing process for San Fran, and it's certainly an offense that takes a long time for people to get acclimated in. There are also the concerns for San Francisco on the offensive line. They're a little bit banged up there. That definitely a concern going up against a Houston Texans team that brings it when it comes to the pass rush. San Fran,
all right,
they won. Yeah. Well, just real quick, the 49ers rallied to win in their preseason opener, a game they didn't deserve to win. I'm not convinced they're going to have that same level of effort and execution in the second half this week.
Tennessee at home, 3 and 41 against Tampa Bay. Any thoughts on this one?
Well, I mean, last year, I've gotten good reports out of Tampa in terms of the practices. Last year, every practice was sluggish and there were problems and guys didn't have enough intensity, and a team that, you play how you practice, they did last year. So this quote, we had some 2-minute situations, some down on the clock situations. Everything was need a field goal except the last couple of needed touchdown plays. I thought the energy faded a little bit right at the end. That was a long practice. 2 hours and 40 minutes. That's a little bit longer than we normally practice. So a good day in all. Cutter liking the Bucs' practice intensity this year more than last year. But one big concern for Tampa Bay, cluster injuries in the secondary. And with the Titans talking about working on their downfield passing game, cluster injuries in the secondary for Tampa could be a significant concern for Bucks backers or underbackers on Saturday.
All right, here we go. 2 plays in this one. Denver 3.5 and 40.5 at home against the Bears. The Denver money coming in. I got a contact in Denver. He's been at the joint practices. He said Trubisky and Daniel are carving up the Denver defense. Quote, Joseph doesn't have a clue. Although Joseph wants to win these preseason games. They were horrible last week, giving up 42 points against the Vikings. He went 4-0 straight up last year. So he's going to play the starters a lot in this game and then expect to see Kelly in the second unit for the second half. Lynch is terrible. And John Elway also said Chad Kelly deserves the opportunity to work with the number 2s. So it's going to be a lot of the 2s in the second half and a lot of the starters getting some reps in this one. And as far as I like the over to what I said earlier, expect a lot of passes in this one. And I think Trubisky and Daniel will move the ball, and I think Denver will get their fair share of points as well. Support for Denver 3.5 and 40.5, the total 6 o'clock Pacific.
Yeah, and here's a quote from Vance Joseph talking about playing time and a part of the reason why the Broncos are taking some money. Quote, we're going to play quite a bit. Not too much are we exposed, guys, but we're going to play. We have to play. We played about 6 or 7 snaps last week on offense and about 14 on defense. So I'm looking about a quarter and a half with our 1s. This is the one that stood out. Our 2s will play until we see progress. We'll play our 3s late. So we could have the Broncos second stringers on the field in the fourth quarter here. I don't know that Chicago second stringers are going to be on the field that late. That could give Denver a second half edge.
Yep. One more, 7 o'clock Pacific, NFL Network to finish off the triple header. Seahawks take on the Chargers. Los Angeles is 3 minus 120, 39.5 the total. Support for the under here. And Carroll, who had been 34 and 14 ATS career in the preseason, did not cash a ticket last week against the Colts. Penny's out. Offensive line still has issues, and it's not the same quarterback rotation we've seen. Not a lot of guys, not a lot of strength behind Russell Wilson once he leaves.
Well, that's the deal. People give the coach credit. Oh, the coach has this great preseason record. When a coach has good backup quarterbacks or good third-string quarterbacks or QB competitions, a coach will have a great preseason record. That doesn't necessarily translate to a year where the backup QB situation isn't quite as good. And we have seen a lot of under money here. Again, this is 2 teams that are going to play in the regular season. So we can expect, it's not week 1 like Rams Raiders, but teams don't show other teams what they're going to do in the regular season on film in August when they're going to play again. They just don't do it. And you know, it's the Seahawks offensive line was as bad as any that I saw last week. That was as bad a unit. That starting offensive line looked awful. What's the strength for the Chargers? That defensive front is loaded. Whether I don't think Bosa's going to play, doesn't matter. Arizona 0 for 11 on third downs last week. No surprise here if the LA defense, once again, is a dominant unit in this ballgame.
Chargers played really well Saturday night. The problem was they kept turning the ball over and giving Arizona a short field. It was complete domination, yards, first downs, but 4-1 turnovers and a defensive touchdown for Arizona, and they won that game 24-17. Money time play of the day, sticking with this game, 429, 430. Chargers, Seahawks under 39.5. Get some action, throw some money on this, and watch the game on NFL Network as you finish off the triple header with 7 games coming up tomorrow. There we go. Good baseball action this weekend, too. Some good series underway tonight. Astros 41-18 on the road, taking on the A's. You got Milwaukee and St. Louis. You got the Dodgers taking on Seattle. So some big series here. And watch out, Yankees. 17-17 in their last 34. And they've been playing some bad teams. It's still struggling as they got beat at home. Well, the Rays aren't bad. They're 3 games over, but still, as they're only 500 against the Orioles, and they continue to struggle as well without Judge. We're back Monday to recap everything and Monday Night Football on ESPN with the Ravens and the Colts. Have a good weekend. Good luck out there. We'll talk to you Monday. Thanks for watching SportsBit. Betting Insight today, SBR Picks. I'm at Real SportsBit. He's at Teddy_Covers on Twitter. Low Shack and the Bag up next. Thanks to the crew.